Welcome to this debate of the week, and this one was kind of inspired by a YouTuber, I believe. His name is Jesse C151. Dude, thank you for leaving messages on my comments. Whether we agree or not, well, it's kind of irrelevant, as long as we had the debate in the first place. I know you're not going to be too fond of what I've said on those comments, and you got your own point of view, the way you feel about Tamina. I'm not going to change your mind, and I know I'm not going to change it. Maybe you might have a more interest in maybe considering something else, but you're not going to change your mind about Tamina. As far as you consider, she sucks. I'm alright with that. That's how you feel. But I am going to try and give a fair debate about why she should be champ in the Divas division. And this is it. For Tamina Snuka, if you're going to think about Tamina Snuka, you must compare her to some of the Divas have come before. When you got Michelle McCool, you got Layla, you got Mickie Jane, who was there at one point and then left. You got the current Divas, which is the Bellas, Nikki and Brie. You have Oksana, I believe she's still there. You got Paige. AJ's now retired because she doesn't want to do it because of the situation with her husband. And that is basically Philip. And let's be honest here. When it really comes down to it, the reason she's not wrestling, this is AJ, is because Phillip Brooks isn't just gone into MMA. The WWE is not too fond that he decides to book on his contract and then essentially has not come back, kind of made the company look bad, and since she's still under contract, she feels very torn because they fired him on his wedding day with her. I think that's one of the reasons why that she decided to retire but still be on the contract, at least for the moment, unless the WWE has already broken the contract. I haven't checked lately. If a contract has been broken from WWE, then more power to her. Hopefully she's happy in a marriage. If she has kids, I hope she has plenty of kids and she's happy. But that's the way it goes. But let's be honest here about Tamina. I'm going to say this directly. Is Tamina the best diva they have? No. She is not. But does not mean she can't get somewhere. I'm going to compare Tamina to one person. I'm sure I'm going to get a somewhat flack. And that is Beth Phoenix. Now, Beth Phoenix came in a little earlier than her. I think around 2007, 2008 at least. Tamina came around 2009 to 2010. But essentially, Beth Phoenix was already there for quite a while before Tamina did. And Beth, let's be honest here, she is no different than Tamina. She has been known to be stiff in the ring. She has been known not to be great on promos. She's good to a certain extent at certain times, but she's never been great on the promos. And she's been known to be stiff in the ring and not all the time could tell a very good story. Now, I could talk about Kelly. I could talk about Michelle McCool and Layla and all of those, and most of them have, let's be honest, comparing a Kelly to a Michelle McCool, if anyone actually believed Kelly was better than a Michelle McCool, you got a problem. Because to be honest, Michelle McCool was a much better talent than Kelly. And let's also be honest, because Kelly kind of did some dirty stuff to get ahead. Like a lot of women did in the wrestling business. A few of them did not, but some have. And when you kind of compare these women to a Tamina, they have some strengths and they have some weaknesses. Was Michelle McCool a better wrestler than Tamina? Yes, she is. But Tamina has one thing compared to all these other women they normally don't have, and that's size. And I know a lot of people are going to say, that's stupid, dude. You need people who can wrestle in the ring. You need people who can do great. Look, I'm going to be honest here. If you compare men to women, you've had many large male wrestlers who not well gone in the ring. In other words, they couldn't do very good work in the ring, but they still got over. Look at Hulk Hogan. I know you're going to say, dude, you can't compare Tamina to Hulk Hogan. In one extent, I can. Just like I can compare a Hulk Hogan to an Andre the Giant. For the simple reason that he didn't get over because he had the best move set. He had maybe 3 or 4 moves of doom that's similar to John Cena. He had the leg drop. He had the big fist. He had the point, you! What got him over was his charisma. Just like HBK got over with his charisma more than his ring work. Because, let's be honest, comparing Bret Hart to Shawn Michaels, Bret is a way better wrestler than Shawn. But Shawn is a more charismatic person than Bret Hart. 100% clean. There's no way to compare the two. And Bret and Tamina are kind of the same. And that's the reason why I mentioned Bret Hart. Bret has never been a great talker on the mic. He's always had people talk for him. He's sometimes gotten some promos well over, but it doesn't mean it was completely over and so over people screamed and yelled for him, unless he went to Calgary or he went to Quebec. Well, he didn't even need to do a good promotion of himself, that people just love him because they loved him, because he's part of the Hart dynasty. Let's be honest about Tamina. What other tools she had? There are 5 tools. You got the look, you have the mic skills, you have the charisma, you have the in-ring work, and can you tell a story in the ring? Not just talking about in-ring work. If your in-ring work isn't that good, but you can still tell a story in the ring, it's totally different. What does Tamina have? She has a look. She is a larger woman than normal. She does the splash, which is part of her in-ring work, which a lot of people are going to say that's all she has, but let's be honest. Superfly Jimmy Snuka is famous for that splash. It doesn't mean he didn't have skill in the ring, but the splash is what got him over. And Tamina is his daughter, so she's going to go with really work for her father. In-ring work, I'm going there. Does she have decent in-ring work? From a scale to 1 to 10, my perception is she's about a 4 to a 5. So she's sometimes below average, sometimes she's average. There's nothing wrong with that, because not every female wrestler, or male for that matter, can reach a 5. Some people that we've seen on Raw in the last few months have been terrible. And there have been some that can hit it at a 10, but guess what? Just because they can do great in-ring work does not mean they're over. Okay? Daniel Bryan is not over because of his in-ring work. He's over with the regular crowd because of the personality he built over the course of 4 years. From NXT, going to WWE, and then getting what he got. It wasn't 100% his in-ring work. As much as so many people want to scream that his in-ring work is the best there is, it takes more to get the casual crowd. And remember this, and I'm saying this honestly, even to Jesse, and to anyone else that's talking here. To make a true pro wrestler, it's not about how great of a wrestler you are. It's the entire package, as well as how much money you can draw. How many people you can get in the seats. They said it like this: a great wrestler is not just someone who can wrestle in the ring, but someone who can put the asses in the seats. And I can't say that Tamina can put the asses in the seats. I'm not going to say that. But the reason I'm making this video is this. Does Tamina have the right to try and become Divas champ? At least once. Just like the Usos and Jimmy and Jay. Many people shitted on them. And I'm not trying to be disgusting and disrespectful to any YWC YouTuber who's done video reviews or who just speaks their opinion. But let's be honest here. When the Usos came out, everyone hated their ass. They said they were stupid. They had no charisma. They had no personality. They had nothing until they got the belts. And what happened? They got seen on television. They moved a very large portion of merchandise. You can check the stocks for WWE.com and for wrestling in general. They moved a lot of merchandise. And this is something that a lot of fans who are way above me, I'm just like an average mark. I don't think of myself as a real smart mark. There are kind of different levels of people who really understand business. I'm someone who truly does not want to dive so deep into the business that I lose the mystique, the mystery, the fun of it. I try to stay low enough that I know some stuff but still enjoy doing these video reviews and watching wrestling. But let's be honest here. As much as you believe a person sucks unless they have great in-ring ability, and maybe to a certain extent a character or charisma, if the regular crowd gets behind them, they can still have some power and can change your mind. I'm not saying Tamina has that ability in her. I personally don't know yet. She's never really had that opportunity to go that far. And the majority of the storylines she's been muscle, or she's been the basic muscle opposition. In other words, just like AJ, she was her muscle. And what happened with Caitlyn, she was just a muscle opposition. She was a bad guy. She's been a good guy a couple of times, but never was allowed to really go far enough to see, well, we have a Tamina here who has good size. She has some decent work in the ring. It doesn't mean it's great work. Her mic skills are questionable. Pretty questionable. But could she actually draw enough people to be interested in her as a champ? We don't know that. And as much as so many people are going to say, dude, she's nothing. She has no charisma. She has no character. She has nothing. Well, remember this. Before the Bellas had their shot to get what they want back in 2009, 10, and 11, say around 10 or 11 was when they became popular and disappeared and then came back, the WWE had to give them a shot. They had to. They didn't have to. They could just release them like a lot of people, like a Drew McIntyre who had incredible potential, who's doing decent work in TNA right now, but was dropped after he had the IC Championship. I'm seeing this from a perspective of how the WWE does not know how to work their talent. Whether they have ability or if they don't have ability. The WWE has never really done it very well to give them the shot to really see if they can actually go somewhere. And there's one person that is a prime example of this. And I know many people are not going to really think about him or even care about him. But this is the person I'm saying. When I was a little kid, the first wrestler that I ever noticed that I cared about was not a Iron Sheik or Bruno Sammartino or a superstar Billy Graham or even Hulk Hogan for that matter. The very first person I recognized and loved as a wrestling fan was Bob Backlund. Now, a lot of people who are older wrestling fans, even ones who are older than me, I'm in my 40s. There's some who are my age and older who love Bob Backlund. One of the reasons why I loved him was because he just seemed so wholesome. And he was a damn good wrestler on top of that. But if you ever heard about the story for him, and I believe it was Pat Patterson, he was working in another company and he was helping to own it. He said, dude, to the Vincent K. McMahon, Kennedy, the one that we know. He said, dude, this guy doesn't know anything about charisma. He sucks. And Vince said, you know what? You said you would never put the belt on him. And I believe it was Pat Patterson he was talking to. Give him to me. I'm going to throw the belt on him and I'm going to promote the shit out of this guy and he's going to get over. And look what happened. Bob Backlund really didn't have a very great character. He had a very wholesome character, but it doesn't mean he could get over. But he was so well promoted that he was champ for 6 straight years. Bruno Sammartino had huge character. He was larger than life. That's the reason why he held it for 10 years. Because he was so well known and loved. But Bob Backlund's no match for Bruno. So think about this for a minute. Tamina. Now I'm saying this straightforward. Tamina doesn't really have a very strong character at all. She doesn't have a great work in the ring. But let's be honest here. Even if she didn't have all that, she could still get over if she's promoted properly. And the only thing I'm asking for people to realize, what's the point of this entire video? Give her one shot at the title and see if she can pull it off. And then afterwards, the crowd doesn't respond, if no merchandise is done, they can easily take it from her. They do that all the time. But at least give her one shot, just like the Usos, just like Bob Backlund. People thought they were shit. But guess what? You gave them the shot. And they ran with it. The Usos, even though they're not champs right now, are still well over and loved. And when it came to Bob Backlund, he held the damn title for 6 freaking years. Let Tamina have the title and see what happens. And hell, if she retires next year, in other words, leaves the company and goes somewhere else, at least she had the right to have one shot at the title and then run it for a couple of months. Just like the Usos, like I said with the Usos, give them at least one opportunity with the title, even if they never hold it again and then they leave the company. She's been there long enough that she deserves a shot, as much as people don't want to hear it. So I hope you enjoyed this debate of the week. Please give me a comment below. I have not done my TNA review. I will be doing it as soon as possible. There's some things I have to do today. This is being done on a Saturday. I'm hoping to have it done by the end of today or tomorrow, Sunday. Have a good day and have a good night. Peace out!